If you want to see your shirt. If not, you're going to just... It looks like a black
I'm
shirt.
not a diva. It'll fine.
All right. All right.
It's like Eric's just doodling. He's drawing the TNA icon. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Hi, my name's Eric Freitas. This is Wrestling is Real, and these are my tag partners.
We are. My name's Calvin.
Andrew.
And this is Wrestling is Real.
This is Wrestling is Real. This is a podcast where we got three guys that work in the film industry. That's why it's called Wrestling is Real. Talking about pro wrestling, another form of entertainment that we also love. And we're going to be going over what ifs and top fives and, different discussions that we can have. Talk about it, Cal.
Wow. That was great. That was great. It's our first episode, so we're going to do exactly what Eric just said. Everything is about wrestling. Wrestling is real, and real as in R-E-E-L, because we are in the movie industry. But, first episode, we're going to do half-hour episodes. We're going to talk about our top fives, what ifs again, and then, talk about the love for wrestling.
I have a question for the two of you. What do you guys do in the film industry?
All right, well, I guess I'll go first. I am what you would call a location scout. I find places that they write down in the script.
Calvin?
Nice. I'm a location manager. So basically, I would hire guys like Eric to find places that's in the script. Also the same thing for Andrew. Location scout / ALM. Well, you guys both are ALMs / scouts.
Well, yeah.
No. But
The point is that we are all either unemployed or soon to be unemployed.
Right.
This is a brutal industry.
Yeah.
And it's
crumbling before our eyes.
yes.
And this is why
We're here.
we are starting
Yes.
a podcast. Because we are basically unemployed.
This is what happens when middle-aged men don't have jobs. They start podcasts.
So sad.
So, all right. So first things first.
So we're going to talk about this, right? Wrestling. We love wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Is
How
love...
long have you guys been fans? When did you start watching wrestling?
I was in diapers.
So we're
Seriously,
talking
I was
late
like-
80s?
Yeah, late 80s.
The heyday of Hulk Hogan.
The heyday of Hulk Hogan. My wrestling thing was I fell in love with wrestling because of the Rockers. I was one of the kids that followed the Rockers, Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty. The whole kicking Marty Jannetty through the Brutus Beefcake window was crushing to me. How a little chubby kid wearing John Cena clothing is crushing to him right now with John Cena turning heel. Yeah. So that was my whole thing. Starting then and there is when I just became a wrestling fan. And then also a die-hard Shawn Michaels fan still to this day.
Me as well. Eric, when did you start watching wrestling?
I started watching wrestling probably the same time as Calvin, late 80s, and it started with the going to Palmer Video and looking at the, looking for a horror movie I was going to sneak in without my parents noticing and seeing the wrestling section. And I saw, the list of WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wherever we were at the time, and I just started at 1. And I worked my way up. And back then, they were doing long-term storytelling like they are now. So if you watched WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, it all kind of like told the story in a way. And the wrestler that caught me, I don't know why. Because I never liked a wrestler like him since him. But Mr. Perfect. I love this action figure. You know what it was? It was spitting out the gum and slapping it.
Yes.
That did it for me. That did it for me. So yeah, Mr. Perfect was my first foray into professional wrestling.
Throwing the football and catching it.
I thought that was real.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way they edited that.
Shit. I got into wrestling a little later. You guys have a couple years on me. I got into wrestling in the height of the Attitude Era, right around November '98, around Survivor Series, when The Rock turned heel and won the title for the first time, joined the corporation. And then, I would go to the video store too and just destroy the wrestling aisle going back like 5-6 years. So I was caught up on all the 90s, WWF and WCW leading up to that.
But how old were you?
When I started watching wrestling?
Yeah.
I was 6.
6, okay.
6, watching the Attitude Era with my dad.
Okay.
You know, so wondering what Val Venus's deal was, or The Godfather. What was that all about?
Did
Didn't
you
really?
Did you know Val Venus was a porn star at that time?
I didn't understand. No, I knew he got with women. That much was clear, but I did not know what pornography was when I was 6.
Got it.
It wasn't until I was 7.
All right, well, let's get into this. Our first topic is our Mount Rushmore. It's our first video, so let's do our Mount Rushmore. Within the Mount Rushmore, we're going to do your one mic, one technical, one powerhouse, and an overall wrestler. So, one of you guys can go first, and then we'll...
All right, are we doing like, I say my mic, you say your mic, you say your mic? Is that how it goes? Or is it...
Should we do that? We could do that.
Because then we can do right into the 3-way.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
My favorite wrestler on the mic, and I'm doing this as like, this is a personal thing, is probably... It's going to be a tie. It's going to be my mid-carder, but I'm not going to say my mid-carder because this guy held the world title, and that's Mick Foley, Cactus Jack. The Mick Foley promos in ECW. I found them on Napster when I was a kid, just like trying to learn as much as I could about ECW. And they said Cactus Jack promos, and I listened to them, and they were wild. And then that just carried over into everything else with WWF when he cut the promo revealing that Mankind's not ready to face Triple H at the Royal Rumble, but he knows someone that is, and he rips open the shirt and it's the Cactus Jack shirt. All that stuff. Mick Foley, very underrated. He lost his edge as he got older, but he replaced it with humor, and that was still, a work of art to me. So, and Mick Foley to me represented so much of what I was at the time when I was a teenager, like that guy that was doing things differently, but somehow hanging with the elites in the WWE. So yeah, for me, it's Mick Foley.
Nice. Mine's is I think almost everybody's gonna say this. Ric Flair. I can't really say anything. Just look at any one of his promos, and you'll understand why he is such a good person on
Now,
the mic.
is that your personal favorite? Like, are you
my
watching
personal.
Ric Flair promos at night?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to get hyped?
Do you not?
No, I do. I want to make sure he does because he said it.
You want to
he
start
does.
your day off right? Listen to a Ric Flair promo.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
It has to be the NWA days.
Okay.
Those days where, and the other person that really went toe-to-toe with him was Dusty Rhodes. So those were the two. I think the two of them, if it wasn't one for another, their mic skills wouldn't be as what it is now.
Right.
Because they one-upped each other every single time.
They raised the bar.
Yes,
Definitely. Exactly. Well, I have to agree with Eric. I had Mick Foley.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I swear to God,
Really?
Mick Foley
Wow, I did not see that
is
coming.
my number one on the mic of all time. This was very close, I will admit, between him and Austin.
Oh, that's a...
But I had to give it to Foley because I had that VHS, the Three Faces of Foley.
Yeah.
Dude, as a kid, that was like every day coming home from school and throwing that on.
Oh,
because it was just the best. I love Mick Foley.
Right.
Always one of my favorites. He's a regular guy. That's his appeal. Is like he's not a bodybuilder.
No.
He's just a dude who would throw himself off of shit.
Yeah.
He's the fucking man.
Don't tell Hulk Hogan that. Why? Hogan hates Mick Foley.
Does he?
Like, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, not hate him, but Hogan did went off of a rant saying that, hey, I don't finish my matches and go back to my hotel room and scarf a cheeseburger down. He's like, I'll spend 2 hours at the gym in the morning and then 2 hours in the afternoon treating my body right so I can keep wrestling.
Yeah, that's right. You were treating your body right.
Yeah. So then now, we got our mic skills. Now, who on the Mount Rushmore would be technical wrestler?
Let's snake it back this way.
Okay.
I'll go.
Okay. Yeah.
Because my pick here, I think he's a technical wrestler.
Oh,
I would call him a technical wrestler.
Okay, one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Oh, yeah.
He's technical.
Yeah,
right?
very technical.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So I thought about that. I was like, I think he's not because I guess you could argue he's not like a chain wrestler, technical wrestler, but he was like he was precise in everything he did. And Shawn Michaels has the best ring psychology of any wrestler of all time.
He'll make anyone look good.
So Shawn Michaels is my pick for technical Mount Rushmore.
That's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then I would go with Kurt Angle.
Ooh.
Fair.
Kurt Angle is one of my favorite, most technical wrestlers. And here's the thing, I did my homework. and I got it written down here on notes because my brain's not that great.
Okay.
Matches you have to see the technicality of Kurt
I've probably seen him.
is, you guys probably have, Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero. And that was WrestleMania 20.
Yep.
Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar. That was WrestleMania 19.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 21.
Are you scared to say Benoit versus Kurt Angle at Royal Rumble? The match that Kurt Angle himself
I was
says
thinking
is
about
that
That is a pretty insane
I-
match.
Kurt, listen, Benoit is, you're so scared to put him on the list nowadays. But Benoit would have been, he's up there with technical wrestlers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And I'll segue that into my pick. I was going to say Benoit, and I thought about it. Because I can't deny how much I watched Benoit growing up until whatever happened. So my real pick, though, the guy that replaced my love of technical wrestling was Daniel Bryan.
Love that. Yes.
Daniel Bryan, to me, if you just remove everything, all the aura and the flamboyance and all the glitz and glamour of professional wrestling, and you just replace it with movement and athletic ability and timing, I don't think anyone does move for move as perfect as Daniel Bryan. Shawn Michaels has psychology. Kurt Angle has intensity. But Daniel Bryan, like the way he throws a little elbow when someone's in a headlock, it's like perfect. It's like every wrestling student, watch how he just did that. The way he just, every little thing is so important to him. So to me, Daniel Bryan is my Mount Rushmore of technical.
Then now what will your powerhouse be?
Oh, my powerhouse. Oh, very hard pick. Very hard pick. I'm going to go with Vader.
It's Vader
I'm gonna go
time.
Vader. It was very hard.
It's Vader time.
I don't want to say who my second was because I think one of you may pick him, so I'm just going to go with Vader. Vader WWF run, not the best. Vader WCW run, my God.
With the Mastodon?
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then after WWE, when he went to Japan, my God, what he did to those guys.
Super Vader.
The punches were legit. The moonsault was legit. Everything, he ended guys' careers legitimately and in storylines. Nothing like a Vader match, in my opinion. One in a lifetime professional wrestler.
It's crazy how you could put Vader and a moonsault in the same sentence.
Right, yeah, exactly.
My powerhouse, The Undertaker. That's my powerhouse. Reason being, and I've been picking these matches and I was watching them last night. I was doing my homework. So, Undertaker. They're the matches you got to see with The Undertaker to prove that he's a powerhouse. You got to watch Undertaker versus Bret Hart, one night only, from 1997.
Oh.
You got to watch any Hell of the Cell matches with Taker. The one that comes to mind for all of us is Mankind, and then it would be Shawn, and then Triple H. That's how I list my Hell in the Cell. Like, those are the three Hell in the Cells that I feel like he killed it.
Shawn, the one with Shawn and the one with Foley are both 1A and 1B. I go back and forth on those all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that
I'm
was
always
the
going to
guinea
pick
pig
Foley
match.
on that one, but yeah, I just rewatched the Shawn one, and
It's so good.
yeah, it's crazy that the first Hell in the Cell match
so
is one of the
fucking
best
good,
still.
dude.
Yeah.
And then you got to see The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25
Of course.
and 26.
26, I didn't love as much.
They still killed it.
It's
Listen,
still
they got
good,
they got 1
but
year
25
older.
is
25, yeah.
Yeah, 25 is great.
That's
but
it.
you
That's
got to
the peak,
understand they
man.
got 1 year older in WrestleMania 26
Yeah.
and they still broke the house down. It's like, and you're a powerhouse.
Well, this was kind of a tough one because I don't know. I went with Brock Lesnar because
That was my second. That was my second.
I love Lesnar.
So do I.
He makes it look so easy. Guys who make it look easy make it look real, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the best. And he is as real as they
Right.
get.
Yeah.
He's barely playing a character when he's
Yeah.
there. He's just himself. He throws fucking people around.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not love Brock Lesnar, dude?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I love Brock, and I think he's underrated. I don't think people give him enough credit for
I
having great
agree,
matches.
and I know, Eric, you're a big Japan guy. Have you seen Brock's Japan work?
I saw his angle match.
Yeah.
and that was
I think I've seen like one or two of them as well. I'm not super familiar with
Okay.
it, but I'm interested to know how he did in Japan. And
honestly, he kind of brings the Japan style anyway into WWE, like that stiff big guy stuff, that throwing you around legitimately stuff. He only turned it up 10% more in Japan because he was already like that.
Yeah.
It was a lot more suplexes. I'll tell you that.
Any
in Japan.
wrestler that goes to Japan wrestles way more than way better than what they were.
They have to.
Look at my number one person that says, look at them in Japan, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You would never see him wrestle like that in the States. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so we're done with our powerhouses. Now your overall.
Okay.
Now your overall could be technically everyone within this list put into one.
I mean,
Oh, that's tough. I struggle with this.
I don't know. I mean, it's number one overall for me is always Austin.
Ooh.
I guess you can call him a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Especially in his later career after the broken neck, he changed his style completely to brawling all the time.
Yeah.
One of the best matches post his neck break, I think, is him and Undertaker at SummerSlam '98, and it's just a total brawl. And it's Austin. I love Austin.
I'm with you on that one.
Hell yeah.
But my overall would be the Heartbreak Kid,
Oh, boy.
Shawn Michaels. That is my overall. And I'm sorry.
No, it's
and I
fine.
got matches that you need to go see to prove why he's the overall.
There's no reason to watch.
Any Shawn
Everyone
Michaels
knows.
match
Everyone
is
knows.
basically a number one.
All right, let's just get something over with this podcast. Shawn Michaels is the greatest wrestler of all time. Everyone understands. You don't have to keep putting him on these lists. It's fine. It's just
He's in
weird that
every
he's a
one
male
of my
stripper.
top fives from here on out. So as long as you know 4 of the wrestlers you will not know, but that one will be Shawn Michaels. For any luchador, Shawn Michaels. It's like anything.
All right, fair enough. For me, I struggled overall just because I was trying to figure it out. But then I kind of nailed it on somebody, and that's Terry Funk for me. Terry Funk with the weirdest, strangest promos you've ever seen, pouring oil on himself on YouTube, if you can find that video while he's cutting a promo. Just like, when he said to Tommy Dreamer, your mommy's a crackhead, your mommy's a whore and your daddy's a crackhead. Things like that. Always offensive. And his match is undeniable, 53-year-olds and crazy. And in terms of being a powerhouse, maybe not a powerhouse, but laid it in there like he wasn't backing down in his matches, His punches looked as hard as anyone as Vader's.
The best looking punches.
Because they were real, because he was hitting you.
That story is so great.
Oh my God. So this is going to be the mix-up now. The mix-up is this. If we take our Mount Rushmore, the 3 of us, and we put them in a triple threat.
Well, if we start with the mic.
If we start with the mic, then it's going to be Ric Flair fighting Mankind.
No, it's not.
Who would it be?
Well, it could be Ric Flair versus Mankind and Cactus
Jack.
Jack. Or it could be Ric Flair versus Mankind and Dude Love.
Or Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Or Mick Foley.
Yeah,
Or
there's
Mick
many
Foley.
options
Yeah.
here. So,
Ric Flair. I think on the mic skill, Rick would
honestly,
take
I'll
If
I'll
we're
concede this
Yeah.
to Ric Flair, even though, I prefer Foley. But Ric Flair is what, a Ric Flair promo is
Yeah.
what the average person thinks of when they think of a wrestling promo.
Right.
Even the person who doesn't
Well,
watch wrestling at all.
here's the thing. I think the promo between them Rick would be talking about, the clothing, the jewelry, the watches, the
There
airplane.
are promos. They
and
did
then
work
no,
the
no, and
program.
then
Yeah.
it would. Did
I remember
they?
it.
that was good.
And it
SummerSlam.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to
Yes.
look at that.
Yeah, it was a good match. It
2006
was a
or
good
7?
match. Yeah, it was an I Quit match.
Yes.
It was a good
They
match.
did a couple. They did
How
They
many?
did 3 matches, I
Yeah,
think.
they did.
Really? I got to
Yes.
watch.
This is
The SummerSlam match, they
Summer
both did blade
2006,
jobs. They did-
after the feud
yeah.
with Edge that Foley had,
Okay.
and the ECW angle. Then he had an
But-
angle with Ric Flair after that.
But in all honesty, because you and me picked Mick Foley, by default, Ric Flair's eliminated. Because
that's true. Yeah.
Even if
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You're out. That's right.
But you got to remember, Ric Flair is the dirtiest player in the game.
That's true. So
it's like a low blow, a poke to the eye, and it's Mick Foley is not really physically,
what do you mean? You got thrown off a Hell in a Cell and continued.
He lived in a boiler room.
to the point where you look at Mick Foley and you're like, is he too stupid to realize when he's injured or when he can't continue? Remember, he couldn't say "I quit." They had to squeal it from a.
Oh, I remember it. I remember that very well.
That's fine.
So wait, who do we go with?
We're going with Foley.
Yeah,
It's
Foley. You got to have
against
voted.
one.
You just got to have
Okay,
voted.
Foley, the
fine,
greatest
whatever.
promo of all time,
yeah.
We'll let people argue that one.
Yeah.
Technical. I got Kurt Angle.
I got Daniel Bryan.
I got HBK.
That's a tough list.
Oof.
That's a tough list.
I'm sticking with Sean on that, and
I think I would. I don't know. My overall is Sean. So like, what do I do now?
I'll concede Sean just because Daniel Bryan was trained by Sean.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'll concede Sean.
So I'll go with Sean on this one. I think Sean's the guy for technical. And then if we do Powerhouse now, Undertaker,
Lesnar,
Vader. Well, right now I'm telling you I'm eliminating Undertaker.
Yeah.
Even though I love him, just because like in terms of Powerhouse.
Here's the thing though: is it prime Lesnar and prime?
No, everything is
Vader?
prime. It has to be prime.
Yeah, prime Vader. That's the 1A, 1B right there for this.
But what is prime Lesnar though? In your, I guess it's for his
The,
first run.
2004,
His first run, right?
2003.
No, I would say his return from
around there.
UFC run.
Really? When he knew how to
When he
fight
just
more?
fired people up. When he was just
Everybody
love
was
that.
scared. Everybody was scared to fight him.
when he was shoot elbowing Cena and Orton.
I absolutely hated when he broke the streak when it happened.
That was a bad
And then
match.
I loved it a year later, and I was like, I get what they were trying to do. It didn't work fully.
Yeah.
Because the fans did not accept Roman Reigns as the guy,
Yeah,
but
right.
what they were trying to do was a good idea. It just didn't work out perfectly.
My heart wants to go to Vader on this one, but the the way
like you
how
said,
Brock is,
Mastodon Vader in WCW. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
All right, we're giving it.
I
to
mean,
Vader.
he would call Brock Lesnar boy so many times. So we got Vader for the Powerhouse, and then the overall, which I went with Sean.
Austin.
I went weird with Terry Funk, so I could see me not, being there. But I feel like the people that know, they know.
Well, I think Sean's already on the Mount Rushmore.
I mean,
already
Austin's
for technical.
Austin, absolutely
It
acceptable.
has to be Austin.
It's got to be Austin.
Yeah, it has to be Austin.
Okay.
You know?
Alright.
So I mean,
wow.
that's that. But now, so we did our what ifs.
So what was the results there? 'Cause
The
I
Mount Rushmore would be
I think it went
Mick
to
Foley
Mike.
for mic skills.
Right, and then
It would be Shawn Michaels for technical.
And then-
it would be Vader for
Okay,
Powerhouse.
all right, I missed on Vader.
And
but-
then it would be Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin
All right,
for
so
overall.
I got 3
So
out of
no
4
one on
there,
my
so-
list made it to the.
See, I was told this wasn't a competition, but all right, I guess it turned into one.
I mean, at the point, it becomes one.
Fair enough.
But it's all right. So we went through all of that. Now here's your Mount Rushmore of mid-card wrestlers.
Mid-card boys.
Okay.
So I think at this point it's like just you list yours off, I'll list mine off, and then you.
We're just gonna list them all.
Yeah, let's just list them.
Or do you want to say Mike, and then do the 3-way right after we say the Mike, and then technical.
Well, no, I think on this
no,
one it's just
mid-card.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's not the Mike rules.
No, this
Oh,
is just
man.
whatever you feel like
All right, fair enough. It's close
is
enough.
that.
All right.
We got 8 minutes, so yeah, do your list. I'll do my list. Then you do
All
your.
right. My mid-card Mount Rushmore, number 1 is obviously Dolph Ziggler. The man has been, in the mid-card his entire career. Even when he was champion, he was still in the mid-card. And he was really great for like 6 or 7 years. Like, he was awesome. And then he just kind of, I don't know what, I think he lost his passion for it, and I don't blame him. But, the last couple of years he was in WWE were not very good.
That's
Next
why he's
on
a
my mid-card Mount Rushmore, that's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
Owen Hart.
Oh,
Owen Hart.
Good one.
I mean, had he lived, I think he would have eventually ended up in the main event picture somewhere. Maybe not in the WWF, but he would have. He would have had a
Yeah, he would have won the world
WCW.
title.
But Owen was always entertaining. It was awesome.
Right.
Number 3, Chris Jericho, which this is my I know this is controversial because here's my take on it. The best years of Chris Jericho's career and the best angles that he's been a part of have taken place in the mid-card. That's not to say that his main event runs have not been good. Some of them have, some have not. Mostly have not, in my opinion. But his mid-card work is his best work. He's synonymous with the Intercontinental Championship.
That's an argument we're gonna have to have. But
Yeah,
who's your next one? Who's your next one?
And then Rey Mysterio, another guy that for the majority of his career has been a mid-card act. Yes, he's barely been a main event player. Even when he was world heavyweight champion, he was treated like a lower card act when he was getting squashed on a weekly basis when he was world champion.
I mean, he's a little guy,
but
too.
that being said,
mind you, he was a giant killer at one time.
Right, but he, even when Ray's a main event guy, he's not a main event guy. He's a mid card guy, but he's one of the best. That's why he's on the Mount Rushmore. So those are my 4.
Okay. My Mount Rushmore. Number 4, I'm going to go with William Regal.
Love it.
The guy had a 30-year career. Did you you can keep it on. It's fine.
No,
Dude, it's fine.
Steven Regal.
William Regal, 30-year career, never won a heavyweight championship in the WWE or WCW. And then my number 3 is Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
You're a real dickhead.
22-year career. The guy's never won a championship as well in the WWE. My number 3 is Razor Ramon, a.k.a. Scott Hall. 24-year career. I mean, the guy has been there, done that. I mean, basically is one of the best, but never had that chance. And then my number 1 is Goldust.
Ooh, I
Dustin Rhodes, who 37 years plus the man is still wrestling to this day. I can name you all the accolades that he's ever had, but he's never gotten that championship in WWE or WCW. But he was a 7-time hardcore champion.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. All right. For me, I'm gonna go with Arn Anderson.
Oh,
one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
The best spine buster.
Best
ever.
spine buster. Best henchman of all henchman characters.
Yeah.
Love Arn Anderson. The next one I would say is Bam Bam Bigelow. He held the ECW World Title, but let's be honest, holding the ECW World Title is like holding a US belt or an Intercontinental
or TNA championship. Yeah.
So Bam Bam Bigelow.
Let's not get crazy.
Bam Bam Bigelow, another guy that I thought of the Powerhouse, but he's probably in the top 5, not in the top 2. But Bam Bam Bigelow just as good as Vader, just never really got the shine that he deserved. Number 3, Dean Malenko, a guy who I loved in WCW, who my dad loved in WCW. He used to sit down and watch Dean Malenko matches because he liked the tricks, he would call it.
The man of 1,000 holds.
Yeah. And then when he went to WWF, it kind of, WWF doesn't really, at that time at least, they didn't know how to promote technical wrestlers at his size, so he kind of fizzled out. But still, if you watch Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko on Nitro, some of the best stuff you've ever seen. I'm going to say someone that I didn't even write down because I was thinking about him the whole time. And that's Psychosis. Ooh. I'm a big fan of Psychosis. He had matches with William Regal, Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, all these. He was the 5th guy in that crew of cruiserweights that didn't get the same shine as them, but had just as good matches as all of them. Went around the world with Mysterio. So yeah, those are my 4 mid-carders.
Nice. Wow. Psychosis. Nice.
All right, so that's our show for today. Thank you. We did our Mount Rushmore for all time, and we did our mid-carders, and we did our what if 3-way dance. Thank you, and tune in next week.